Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Yeah, it's your favorite spot. The best podcast on the planet. Yes, I said it. This is the place right here where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We are going to Canada, one of my favorite places on the planet. We're going to visit with author Michelle Brown Matthews. Michelle is all over the internet. She's all over the planet. She's at Christmas fairs and has booths and big banners. I'm so proud of her because marketing and promotion is the key. Nobody knows you exist unless you get out there.
Very
and so
true.
We're going to talk about that and, taking that piggy to market and put it on the auction block. But her book is around generational healing and trauma, but it's fictional. So it's going to be very exciting. Also, the journey to reinvention. How do we bounce back? And even if it's fictional, it has some realistic elements to it because we all experience life. So we want to welcome her to the show. How are you, Michelle?
Thank you very much. I am fantastic.
Yeah. How's the weather there in Canada?
We had a little snow yesterday, so
Okay.
that time of the year, you want a little bit on the ground for Christmas and the
That's
holiday season. So we'll take it for that and then it can go. That would be great.
I know. It rained here in California, and so they say it never rains in sunny California. Well, it does. We just come all up out of our skin. We don't know how to handle it. People don't know how to drive. They don't know how to do anything. But you know how to do everything. Tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
My name's Michelle Brown. I am a very proud mom of three incredible young adult humans. I'm a teacher librarian, actually, my dream job, and now an author. So, which writing has genuinely been kind of the thing that I've always wanted to do and always wanted to be.
Being a wordsmith is an amazing gift. I grew up I had dyslexia, and it was a challenge for me because I learned differently. Brains, I wasn't dumb. I just couldn't hear the cut, but, duh. And then when I tried to put the letters together, spelling, it was a challenge. But my parents got me hooked on phonics. They kept me at the library. The library was so fun, and the librarian was queen because she was so patient with me. And I started writing poetry, wrote a book, entered contests, and look at me now. I'm an internationally known communicator and the author of 3 books. Being in the library, it's a special kind of place. Do you still have to be quiet?
The library is actually often, at least my library is often one of the more noisy places in the school, to be truthful. We do the traditional read alouds, but I also do coding and games and activities, and I have these little fake snowballs, and we'll have snowball fights in the library and stuff like that. So it's the hub, it's the heart of the school. So yeah.
A lot of times people don't utilize the libraries the way that they did because it's innovative. It's reinvented itself so much.
Yes.
A lot of things are online technology, and you got to watch these kids on the computers because you don't know where they're going to be.
That's true.
But finding your own book, your own words on the shelf of the library, how did that make you feel?
Well, the first time I actually held that book in my hands, I have to say, like, it was surreal. I looked at it and it had my name on it, and it was the cover that I knew that I'd helped to create, and I opened it up and the words were familiar, but it just felt unreal. So it was the greatest feeling. It's been a long time coming. And I couldn't believe when I finally was able to actually physically hold it in my hands, and it was real.
What encouraged you to put your pen to pad and write your own book?
My writing journey actually started when I was about 9 years old in grade four. We often hear about those teachers that made a difference for people. And for me, it was Judy Wales. She was my grade four teacher, and she saw and recognized my passion for writing even at 9. And she just encouraged it. She supported it. She gave me every opportunity to put my pen to paper as I could. And it literally just, that was what put that fire in me way, way back then. So this particular story came out of, my grandmother telling me the stories about her and my grandfather and the war, and wanting and needing to uh, share that with the world. And, just what a strong, amazing woman she was. And, it's all just kind of come together. So, yeah.
We're going to get into the pages of that in just a minute, but I want to ask you a little bit about the writing process.
Hmm.
Many people say that they have a book inside of them. And I know when I wrote my, one of three books, I didn't write it in a chronological order. I just wrote.
Yep.
And then after reading it, putting it together, and then having an editor, that's key, Brains. You got to have
Yes.
an editor.
Oh,
Even
yes.
though you read it a million times, you still need to have someone else dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yep.
But then they put it in a flow. They made
Yep.
it so that the reader could really understand it. Tell us
Yep.
a little bit about your writing process and also your inspiration. Where did you go? Did you go to the park? Did you sit in front of the fire? Did you go to Tim Hortons and get a donut and some hot chocolate?
I love that you know about Tim Hortons.
Oh, I love Horty Tim's. Yes, I do. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the process for this particular book actually began quite a while ago. Originally it came out of me doing some family tree searching and growing and all that sort of stuff just for fun. And starting to kind of learn more about ourselves. I was able to get my grandfather's military records,
Mm,
and I was amazed to discover one of the documents I got was the war diary for his regiment. So he was a Canadian soldier, part of the 8th Regiment or 8th Reconnaissance Regiment in Canada, and she was a British soldier. And I was able to take those stories and then look at where he was in actuality and connect them and be able to put those real events into the story. So all that research, it took a long time to kind of piece all of that together because I needed it to be correct. But I was really fortunate that I have a really good friend who is ex-military, and he was able to make sure that my language was correct and the way that I phrased things was correct, and where people were located in situations was correct. And then being able to connect the two main characters in those stories together.
mm.
Uh, that was really just, the icing on the cake, that it came together. Like the stories made sense and they were true. And, so the story is certainly got a lot of creative license, but the essence of the story is based on my grandparents and how they met during the war and fell in love
Wow,
and carried forward. So
that's
it was pretty moving. And that was the inspiration to write the story in the first place, was hearing those stories and thinking, wow, that's an incredible experience. What these people lived through. My grandmother was in London, and what London just alone went through was incredible. The bombings, daily, daily, daily bombings. Um, and just that ability to get up every day and go again and go again and go again, and not just go again, but go again with joy, go again with, you know, that strength and resilience that sort of resounds through the whole book, and is the essence of definitely who she was, this really strong, amazing woman. Um, in terms of the writing itself, I'm very much like yourself. I did not write it in perfect sequence.
mhm.
Um, I wrote whatever came to me. And for me, oftentimes I would hear a song and it would help me see the storyline. And so I would just play that poor song on repeat while I wrote that chunk of the story. And out of that developed a Spotify playlist. So I have this playlist
Wow.
as well that, if somebody wanted to listen along and read the book at the same time, it kind of correlates to the storyline as well. So
Are you
yeah,
going to create an audio version of the book?
that is in the works. I'm in the process of putting together some studio space and things like that. And there's actually a screenplay being formed to adapt it to film as well.
Well, and I tell people all the time, don't let it lay there like lunch meat. Work it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You can submit it to a theater. They could do monologues. It could be a community theater play. It could be a
Hmm.
Netflix movie. It could be on the big screen. So if you have a body of work, continue to
Yeah,
work it. A lot of times,
absolutely.
too, what people do is they get bored with it. It's giving birth. It's giving
Yes,
life to something. They will go out. They'll be excited about it for the first maybe 6 months to a year. And then after that, but if they're still selling the Bible, baby, they can still sell yours.
absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
it's brand new to the person who's never read it. So you have to
Mhm.
market it, you have to promote it. Tell us a little bit about your marketing and promoting efforts because I'm seeing you everywhere and I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Again,
you.
a lot of times people don't do that. You cross promote, you do short little clips on social media, you cross promote other individuals that are marketing and promoting you as far as their podcasts. That's huge. That's visibility. That's frequency. I'm doing it. You're doing it. Your guests are doing it. It's showing up everywhere. People are taking pictures holding the cover of the book. That's engagement, brains. That's how you sell a book. It's not just sitting there looking at you. That's not how you're going to move it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's been a really good learning curve for me, which has been very exciting. And I choose to embrace it as exciting as opposed to nerve-wracking. But because I'm in front of the camera is not my natural state. It's not really where my happy spot is, but it's where my happy spot needs to be because my book needs that space. So, you learn to agree to disagree on your happiness in terms of that spot. But social media, I mean, that's the way everything is now, whether it's indie authors or big house authors. Everything's on social media. You look at huge movies, all the Marvel movies, they're all over social media. That's where people are. So where the people are is where you need to go. And so I've, learned along the way and refined hopefully as I go, and certainly still have a lot more to learn. But I have always been a believer that anybody who links arms with you and supports you, you need to do that back.
Yeah, you do. And you're
And
doing a great job. So,
so
'cause I'm seeing you everywhere. So,
perfect. It's
brains
good to
keep
know.
keepers open. So now let us dive into the pages of the book. Tell us a little bit about the book. Let's see the cover.
So this is Love Always.
Look at that. And look at Brain. She's matching with the cover. Love Always, Michelle Brown.
Little theme going.
Exactly. And tell us, you're going to read an excerpt for us. Tell us a little bit about that. Introduce that for us.
So this is a little further into the story. Thomas and Vivian are the names of the main characters. I've changed the names of almost everybody in the book, just so that I can have the creative license that I need to. And they are together at this point. They're having the baby, which is my mom. So my mom was born in England, and this is at that point in the story. So the small garden had not suffered despite Vivian's not so green thumb. She looked around her with a sense of pride. Her brother Bryant had managed to plant and grow quite a nice assortment of vegetables in her little patch in the rear of her parents' home in Tottenham. He was teaching her how to care for the plants and gave her a small patch to work with, under his supervision, of course. He was a very patient teacher, Vivian mused. The vibrant greens of the plants clashed with the stark gray-brown and black of the scorched walls of houses and buildings around them. They had been charred from the fire and ruined at the hand of the incessant bombings of Germany. Peas clung thickly to the vine she had strung across some sticks. She snapped one off and placed it in her mouth with a crisp. It was crisp and sweet. She closed her eyes as she crunched happily on the shell and thought to the and through the sweet round peas inside. Her belly rolled and stretched. She reached down and rubbed it, massaging her baby bump with delicate and affectionate strokes. Her child, Thomas's child, responded to the happy calm of their mother. It didn't matter to Vivian if the child was a boy or a girl as long as they were healthy and well. They would be moving to a house in Farnham in just a few more weeks. He wanted her to be safe, and New London would become an ever-increasing target to the Luftwaffe and the VK buzz bombs. He couldn't bear the idea of her being hurt, and with her carrying his child, it was even more crucial that Vivian be kept safe. The frequency of the bombings had been increasing as of late, leading many to speculate about an impending attack on the shores of Southampton. In fact, the frequency had grown to at least one bomb every hour. Most were taken down by the anti-aircraft guns and the barrage balloons, but far too many reached their mark. The scream of the air raid siren broke through the tranquility of the garden. She was momentarily unsure where she was or the significance of the noise. Even before the siren reached its peak, she could hear the drone, the buzzing of the VK bomb. How much longer would it last? A sickening dread hit her. While they could be heard, there was usually no threat. It was when they stopped making the noise that the true danger came. That was when they were dropping from the sky, seeking their target, seeking to destroy roads, bridges, homes, lives, seeking to take the lives and invoke terror. She could hear the drone of the bombs and the siren blending in with the anti-aircraft guns. The sounds blurred, creating a syncopated orchestra of cataclysm. Terror lifted in her chest and her heart pounded. Viv ran towards the house. She needed to get inside for her greatest safety, to get away from the potential shrapnel of crumbling walls and shattering glass. The risk of the house being hit was less than the risk of something around her being destroyed and her being without cover. As she ran towards the house, her father appeared in the door, calling for her. Viv, come! At that moment, she lost her footing and stumbled. She saw her father's face drop as she fell forward onto her swollen stomach. Viv, he cried, running towards her. But there was no chance for her to reach her in time. She hit the ground belly first with a horrifying thud. He helped her up and half carried her into the house. Her heart was pounding in her ears. She could barely hear her father, but understood he was telling her to hide under the bed. He helped her down onto the floor, but she couldn't fit. And that was when she felt the warmth on her legs. She looked at her father as she touched the inside of her thigh. He went ashen when he saw the blood on her hand. Right then. He took a breath. Let's get you to the hospital. Seems my grandbaby has plans to come early. He smiled at Vivian and squeezed her hand, trying to feel as calm as he hoped he looked for his daughter's sake. The streets were sheer madness as the people ran for cover. Emergency vehicles swerved around pieces of burning buildings that had broken away or were fallen into the road as they collapsed. One of the bombs had hit an apartment complex just 2 streets away. Bricks, glass, and wood had been turned into weapons in their own right as they crumbled and erupted into the surrounding streets. Wallace was normally a very quiet man. He wasn't known for taking action or being a hero, but in the face of his daughter and unborn grandchild needing him, he rose to the occasion. He saw an ambulance hurtling down the road, and he stepped into the lane, knowing that he wouldn't stop for a mere hand in the air as if he were hailing a cab. He closed his eyes, expecting that he might be struck. When the impact failed to happen, he opened them and saw the terrified eyes of the driver. Are you out of your fucking mind? The driver yelled at him. Do we not have enough dead and wounded without you jumping in front of me? My daughter, he yelled. She needs your help. He motioned towards Vivian, who was leaning against a lamppost, her face white. The attendant saw her swollen belly and the blood running down her leg. Got an add-on. Hold tight, he yelled to the driver while jumping out of the cab. Let's get her in the back. He helped Vivian into the back of the ambulance and then jumped back in the cab. Wallace didn't move until he saw the medics had placed Vivian inside. Knowing she was safe as he could make her, he moved out of the way and to allow her to be taken to the nearest hospital. As he watched the ambulance drive off, he finally surrendered to his fear and collapsed to his knees, sobbing in the middle of the street. He prayed for his daughter, for his grandchild, and for all of London as they fought to survive this damned war.
Wow. Oh my God, she's having the baby in the middle of the bombing.
And that part is actually true. She was born premature because
Wow.
of a bombing. So, yeah.
You know, you listen to books like this and you transport yourself into that time, to that era, to that location. But what it also does, it brings a very real element to what's happening in the world now.
Hmm.
And you have such empathy and compassion for people that live in those type of situations.
Yeah.
I think about what's happening in the Middle East. I can
Hmm.
only imagine the bombs dropping and the smell of,
Yeah.
I was trampled in a riot one time as a child,
Oh,
and they shot tear gas. And baby, if you've ever been hit with tear gas, and I could just imagine. So I was there with you the whole time, and Vivian and the father. So you did an incredible job, and I love
thank
how
you.
you
Thank you.
layered and textured the words. Reading is such a gift. It's such a blessing. But I've
Hmm.
gotten lazy. I'm doing the audiobooks because I'm trying to take in so many books. I
Yes.
think I do the audiobooks more so when I'm trying to learn, like I'm learning nutrition. It's easier than sitting there trying to go through the textbooks. But when I really want a special experience, I want to curl up with the book. I want to feel the pages. I want to smell the pages. I want to have my blanket. I want to get tucked in. So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful feeling, and you did an
Yeah.
excellent job with that.
Yeah.
So you say that you're thinking about having it go into, you said, a screenplay?
Yes. So I'm working with this wonderful up and coming young screenplay writer. And there actually is some early interest. So from a Canadian producer and director. So I won't give too much of that at this point because we don't have anything particularly firm to discuss, but it's out there. So
Well,
I
let's just
love
put
when it's
it out
out in
there
the
in the
universe.
stratosphere. If you could have this on the big screen, who
Oh,
would
that
who would you want to play Vivian?
my daughter. So my
Really?
daughter Miranda is an up and coming actress. So uh, I would love to see her be my grandmother.
Okay.
The rest of the cast, they can handle that.
They can handle
Yeah.
it themselves?
The rest is up to them. That's fine. I'll leave that to the experts. But my daughter being Vivian would be phenomenal.
That's wonderful. So what do your friends say about your book, and what's the feedback that you're getting?
I'm having phenomenal feedback. The reviews have been great. I mean, your friends are always wonderful, right? They always have great things to say to you and stuff. So the reviews that are phenomenal from total strangers, they really hit home. I am very blessed to have some amazing, amazing people. I talk a lot about who do you have in your front row. And I was always really good at being somebody's front row, but I wasn't very good about it, allowing people to be in mine. Because I always figured, oh, you're strong, you can do this yourself. But realizing that, we all need a front row. Nobody gets anywhere. Nobody is truly successful alone. We need to allow people to help us and support us and be our front row. So,
And it's a
yeah,
lot of love involved in that, because getting people to read a
yeah,
chapter, much less the entire book, they're
yes,
busy,
yes,
they've got other things to do, or they'll put it down, or they won't get back to you, or they won't write a review. So again, those people, they deserve a seat in your front row. That's wonderful.
absolutely.
So let's ask you some fun questions, because I love
Sure.
to do this a part of the interview. If you were an appliance in the kitchen of all places, Michelle, what appliance would you be?
Oh, I'd be the kettle.
You'd be the kettle. Why?
I would be the kettle because the kettle is part of my happy place. When I was little, I've been drinking cups of tea since I was old enough to hold the cup. My grandmother being British, tea is a staple. And it would be, lots of milk and sugar in mine, but I was holding that teacup, from a very early age. So that kettle being on, That just instantly, as soon as I hear that sound, it gives me this peace and comfort from
Mm.
my childhood.
I
Yeah.
want to be the air fryer.
You want to be the air fryer?
Be the air fryer. Yeah, because it's new, it's hot, it's trendy, it's crispy, it's low in grease, it's low in calories. I think
There you
I'll be
go.
if you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
Probably a snapdragon or a lily of the valley. When I was little, so my favorite flower is the snapdragon. And it's because my grandfather, when I was really little, and he passed away when I was 6. So for me to have these vivid memories of my grandfather, it tells you what a strong person he was to my life. And he would pinch the side of the snapdragon and make them, oh, it would open like a little mouth, and he would make them talk, and he'd do these little funny voices with the snapdragons when I was little. So I'd be a snapdragon.
That's beautiful. What would you say to an up and coming, inspiring writer?
I would say first and foremost, do it, go for it. Don't wonder, don't hesitate, do it. Write it, get a good editor. What you're saying about having a good editor is absolutely key. My editor, Elizabeth, was pivotal to making the flow excellent and making me commit to expanding some spots that were uncomfortable for me. So some of the steam wouldn't have been nearly as big as it is in the story if it hadn't been for Elizabeth. So y'all can thank her for
Well, I
that.
mean, people love that. They love drama, they love murder,
Yeah,
they love sex. That's what sells. It
yeah.
keeps it keeps you engaged. If you were a car, what car would you be?
Um, I think I'd be a pickup truck.
A pickup truck.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'd be a
Yeah,
pickup truck because you can go anywhere, do anything, and take lots of people with you.
yeah. I would take a 1974 VW van.
Ooh, yeah.
I like the flowers painted on the side and a mattress in the back and a hookah pipe and listen to some Jimi Hendrix. That's my
Yeah.
that is my
On a
if you
beach
could
somewhere.
absolutely. If you could time travel, would you go back to the
Oh.
past, stay here in the present, or project to the future?
Hmm. I don't know. The present's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good. I'm liking where things are going. So I think I'm going to stay put.
All right. And if you could have a conversation with a 25-year-old Michelle Brown, what would you say to her?
I would tell her to find herself some really good, strong women and emulate them and do what they do. If they're successful and kind and good people, you find out what they're doing and you do that too.
Well, that's some great advice. Tell my brains how to get a copy of your book on Amazon if you have any upcoming events that you want to promote, and some words of encouragement for young readers to keep them motivated, to keep them in the pages of books inside the library.
Well, you can find it on Amazon, of course. It's also a Kindle and a Kobo. You can find it on Kobo as well if you prefer the electronic version. The audiobook's not quite there yet. But you can also, it's listed through Ingram Sparks. So you can go into your wonderful little local bookstore and support your small businesses, and they can order it in for you. You might not get it the next day like you might with Amazon, but you're supporting somebody's family when you do that. So please do that if you have that option. And for anybody who, these young readers, and I hear it a lot as a librarian, the school librarian, I don't really like to read. And I said, you just haven't found what you like yet.
Right.
You just need to find a book and a series and an author that resonates with you. And once you do, that's it. That door is open, that window is open, and out you will fly into whatever world those books create for you. And it is so amazing to have that place that you can go, that your mind can go, that you can escape to when you need to. And that creativity and brilliance and all the learning that comes along with that, whether it be fiction or nonfiction. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It will transport you to places that you've never imagined that you could go. And I used to read things. This was odd. Now, having a reading challenge, one of my favorite things to read, and I gravitated to, was Newsweek. And
Well, sure, little bites, right?
Newsweek, I would read the big articles, I would read the stock
Yeah.
market, whatever. And to this day, I am still enamored with that. So
Yep.
again, something will catch your attention. There's so much out there, there's so much content. And if you're not a reader, be a writer. Create a story,
Absolutely. Yeah.
fictional.
You
Make it
haven't found the one that you love, make the one you love.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're loving you right now here on the
Thank
edge.
you.
Put that book up so we can see it one more time. There you go. Love always. And we love you always here on the edge. We're going to be moving. We're not going to be on Blog Talk. We are moving to Spreaker. All the information will be provided. All the great content's going to be moving over there. Uh, it's exciting times. They're part of Apple. So I want you to go in on Spreaker or any of the other channels. You'll find us all over the planet. Go in and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Love, like, and share. Thank you so much for being on the edge with me, Michelle. You are the best, and continue to write, and we'll be looking forward to how this unfolds.
Thank you so very much.
Bye, brains. Have a good day.